Books are being banned. History curriculums are being whitewashed. Diversity programs are being dismantled. America's classrooms have become a new battleground. In this video, we reveal how education and DEI are under attack and what that means for students in our future. In recent years, a wave of education gag orders and bans has swept across dozens of states. What kids can read and what teachers can say is being tightly controlled by new laws. The setup for this battle, a political backlash against teachings on race, gender, and America's history. Supporters call it removing indoctrination. Opponents call it censorship. The result is a deep dive, essentially two versions of American education emerging, red state versus blue state. Since 2021, 18 states have passed laws restricting how teachers can discuss topics like race, gender, and sexuality in class. These laws often ban so-called divisive concepts. For example, a teacher might be barred from acknowledging systemic racism or discussing LGBTQ families. In some places, teachers are even told they don't have to use a transgender student's preferred name or pronouns. Educators are left walking on eggshells, unsure if a frank conversation about history or a student's identity could cost them their job. Few states have pushed this crusade as far as Florida. In 2022, Florida passed the Parental Rights in Education law, branded by critics as "Don't Say Gay," which bans classroom instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity in early grades. Then in 2023, Florida's government went further, banning diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in public colleges. Governor DeSantis argued that DEI initiatives were woke indoctrination and even redefined DEI as discrimination, exclusion, and indoctrination. The result? College diversity offices shut down, equity training halted, and some minority student programs dismantled. Texas soon followed suit. In 2023, Texas banned DEI offices and training at its public universities as well, forcing the closure of cultural centers and ending support for certain student groups. What had been standard efforts to make campuses welcoming for all suddenly became political targets. The backlash against DEI isn't confined to colleges. In K-12 education, concepts related to racial justice or LGBTQ inclusion have been curtailed. One high-profile example, Florida blocked an advanced placement African American studies course, claiming it pushed a political agenda. Elsewhere, terms like critical race theory and academic framework mostly taught in law school were turned into buzzwords to attack any teaching about racism. By 2023, over 120 state-level policies had been proposed to restrict teaching about race or gender. America's classrooms are being reshaped under pressure from one side of the political spectrum. Alongside curriculum crackdowns, we've seen an explosion in book bans. Once a rarity, school book bans have surged to unprecedented levels. There were over 10,000 instances of book bans in the last school year, a 200% increase from the year before. Entire lists of titles, often dealing with race, LGBTQ themes, or tough real-life issues, are being pulled from shelves. According to PE and America, in 2023, Florida alone banned over 4,500 books in schools. Many teachers and librarians are now forced to remove or cover books until they can be reviewed for objectionable content. The scope is so absurd that even books about Roberto Clemente, a Latino baseball icon, or seahorses have been challenged under broad obscenity definitions. It's a purge of literature under the banner of parental rights. Students and many parents are pushing back. They argue that whitewashing history or ignoring diversity doesn't make it go away. It only leaves kids less prepared for the real world. For minority students, seeing their stories banned or identities erased is deeply harmful. This crisis is tragic for young people hungry to understand the world they live in and see themselves in books. One advocate said, "Removing discussions of race and gender doesn't change the fact that these issues exist. It just breeds ignorance and intolerance." The education divide hit the highest levels in 2023 when the Supreme Court ended affirmative action in college admissions. In a landmark ruling, the conservative majority struck down race-conscious admissions policies as unconstitutional, reversing decades of precedent. Supporters of the ruling say it's a win for colorblind policies. Critics say it will reduce campus diversity, noting that race-neutral methods have limits in addressing inequality. Indeed, some elite universities reported immediate drops in applications from minority students after the decision. The end of affirmative action, combined with state DEI bans, marks a broad retreat from proactive inclusion in education. The takeaway from these education battles is that progress can be undone if we're not vigilant. America spent generations working to make schools more inclusive, integrating classrooms, expanding curricula to honor all cultures, ensuring campuses are open to historically excluded groups. Now, in just a few years, some of that progress is being rolled back. It raises the question, what kind of education do we want for our children? One rooted in honest history and diversity, or one that hides uncomfortable truths? Supporters of the new restrictions say they're protecting kids from divisive or age-inappropriate content. No one disagrees that education should be age-appropriate and fair, but when words like diversity and equity become dirty words, something is off. Banning books about Jackie Robinson or censoring the fact that slavery was brutal does not protect kids, it misleads them. Education isn't supposed to always be comfortable. Sometimes it's meant to challenge, to expose young minds to different perspectives and the truth, even if painful. There is hope and action in response. Teachers are finding creative ways to give students a fuller education, even if it means operating in a gray area. Students are organizing banned book clubs to read and discuss the very books adults have tried to remove. Communities are pushing back at school board meetings and in elections. We've seen extremist board members recalled or defeated when the wider public mobilizes. Some states are passing laws to protect teachers who teach the truth and to ensure school libraries can't be purged so easily. And importantly, many parents are speaking up to say, we want our kids taught real history and to respect others, not shielded in a bubble. Education is often called the great equalizer. It's how we equip the next generation to build a better society. Censorship, classrooms, and defunding diversity doesn't protect children, it cheats them. It's up to all of us, parents, educators, students, voters, to demand truth and inclusion in our schools. The fight over education is really a fight for the soul of our democracy. Will we empower our children with knowledge and critical thinking, or leave them in the dark? The answer will shape America's future, and that's a lesson we can't afford to get wrong.